Hi, I'm Sam Soto, and this is aSecondReality. I've been fortunate to be in some amazing projects in my day.
Can you guarantee that? Can you guarantee it? Get it done!
Estamos buscando trabajo. No hay dinero en México.
Same story.
For me? For you, Hector.
None of them will ever compare to the ones I was able to make, with a lot of help from my friends. I made a movie about expression. I made a movie about fear. I made an unexpected love story. And I made the funniest, most chaotic TV show I can think of.
Hey, let's get roommates. You ruined furniture.
Oh my God!
They were escapes. And now I'm here, sharing my reality with you. Welcome to aSecondReality.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another September. Because it's September. I didn't mean to say September, but it is also September for subscribers. So, welcome. This is probably going to be the last one for the month. We will see. I don't know. I'm running out of movies. So, today we have Dylan White, we have Jobeth Wagner, and we are going to watch the movie that a shit ton of you have asked for, which is Welcome to P.E.A.C.E. So I hope everybody that asked for it is here, because if you're not, then you got to watch it on repeat and you can't ask the questions that you've been asking. So, for all of you, I hope you're here. Huh. You all look fabulous. Thank you, Amanda. Yes, they do. And with that, here we go, guys. Here is Welcome to P.E.A.C.E.
You look lost.
I've never been on a set before.
Well, it's not like it's a real movie. It's more of a promo.
Is that like a short film?
It's something like that. Hey, you want to be in it?
Seriously?
Why not? Look, it's just a bunch of friends having fun. No one's gonna see it anyway. What's wrong?
I don't really hang out with people.
What are you talking about? Everybody... I'm Marcus.
Jack.
Jack, nice to meet you.
What if peace was possible? Well, it is now! After centuries of conflict, anger, attachment, exclusivity, loneliness, the greatest change of all mankind is finally here. Peace. Thanks to the historic discovery from the great people at Lana Incorporated, we have implemented the program to eliminate attachment, conflict, and exclusivity, or PEACE for short. The circumstances everyone experiences will be the same, maximizing a person's acceptance, drive, friendship, and smiles. Smiles! With a process that required decades to implement, the program is an astounding success. Success! We interviewed some of our honest and most loyal employees about their experiences regarding peace. What do you think of peace?
I think it's amazing. I can only imagine how life used to be for people who love puppies but couldn't make a living helping them. It must have been horrible.
I am honored to live in a time where peace is an actual concept put forward by a mega conglomerate corporation whose only goal is to make the work environment more efficient, the paying customers' lives better, and as long as we work together, we're in great hands.
Data shows that what we created was an impossibility, but it worked. As we all know, it was desperately needed. But with success comes a need for protection, and Lana Incorporated has that covered with no risk to your peace. We will do what is needed without a second thought.
What about you?
It feels kind of great, actually. I've been feeling so lost lately, like I'm in a rut. And now I'm doing this film, and most importantly, I got a friend.
Best friend.
A best friend. Thank you.
No, thank you. War, poverty, conflict, loneliness are memories of the past. We have created a world of synergy, an existence of possibilities. A life controlled by circumstance. Earth's circumstance. Welcome to peace.
Jack! Good job in that video.
I'm sorry. How do you know my name?
Seriously?
Oh.
What's it like being famous?
I am not famous.
You are the face of P.E.A.C.E for the biggest corporation in the world. How can you think you're not famous?
I always thought if you were famous, you were popular, and trust, I am not popular.
You have Marcus. Isn't he your buddy?
Aren't people in the program to eliminate attachment, conflict, and exclusivity allowed to have friends?
You're not like everyone else. I know everything about you, Jack.
No, you don't.
Want to know a secret? You already know. I'm a recruiter.
Hey, listen, now you've got a friend. As long as you're not friends with a recruiter.
What is a recruiter?
It's kind of like Agent Smith. If this were the Matrix, they show up if there's ever like a threat to the peace. And then it's, you know, hasta la vista, baby.
How do you know all this?
I work in classified information.
Ah. What's a recruiter?
You're funny. Must be about your time, Jack, right? Can I walk you in?
Know what? I forgot something in my car. We'll be right back.
You okay?
Yeah.
Peace is interesting, but you can't do it alone. So if you ever need anything...
Thanks.
Yeah. And hey, now that I'm your new friend, I am by default your best friend. And, you know, you gotta trust your best friend, right? It's the law. Yeah, it's the best friend law.
Really?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay. Then I trust you and your made-up law.
It's a good law. And as long as we work together, we're in great hands. Oh, I'm the best part of this.
But it worked.
Wait.
As we all know it was
No.
Close the door. Close the door. Is anyone else in here?
No, just us. What's going on? What? Why are you here?
Recruiter approached me today and took me into my meeting.
Okay, what happened?
I panicked and I ran.
You never run from a recruiter!
We're like Thelma and Louise.
We are not like Thelma and Louise. Although driving off a cliff might be a good option at this point. Is there anything you need to pack?
No. This is why I can't have friends. I always end up messing things up.
Everyone messes things up.
Not like me. I'm not supposed to acquaint myself with anyone.
What are you talking about?
Emotional attachment impedes the ability to get rid of any potential threats to peace, even if it's your only friend.
What the hell, man?
I'm a recruiter. I was at the shoot because of you. And now we need to run.
I know.
What?
I told you. I work in classified information. And you really needed a friend. But clearly your emotional attachment to me proves your inability to do your job and shows that you're a threat to peace. So because of that, you are relieved of your duties as a recruiter, and as a friend. Didn't you get the memo?
Ready, action.
Life's good.
Peace! A program of family. A world of promise.
Somebody stole my donut.
A recruitment of safety.
Check this out. Today, I made a new friend.
A best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And a place of friendship. This is peace.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another All Hands on Deck. We are doing Welcome to Peace because you guys asked for it. So here we are. I don't know who's here, but I hope it's people who asked for it. So you guys can ask whatever questions you want to ask. We have Dylan White, one of the leads. We have Jobeth Wagner. And we are here just to talk about this weird movie. If any of you guys want to start on any subject of any of it, feel free, because I have no questions.
You have questions because you're the one who made it.
Because you have all the...
I have all the answers.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, then we'll start with you, Jobeth. You probably read it. You're probably one of the first people who read a version of this, a version of this script before it changed probably 50 times. And it was also in a very short amount of time when we were trying to do it. We had like a deadline. We had a hardcore deadline. And I was trying to get to a point in the script where I knew I was good to go. Because I know I'm going to rewrite it even on set. But I needed to get to a point where I was like, all right, if we do nothing else to this script, this works. You read all the crappy versions before it. What are your thoughts about the crappy versions? How do you think? How do you?
All the crappy versions before this crappy version? Is that what you're suggesting?
yes. Because, like this version is very. This crappy version is very specific to how it changed compared to the other versions. So, you've probably read every version. Do you have any thoughts about that? And the other versions up to this version. Did you have a favorite version?
I didn't really think that any of the versions were that crappy.
Oh.
Just I know you were like worried about people understanding what was going on, and so you kept having me read it and then be like, "But do you know what's happening right now? Can you tell? Do you know what like this is?" And then trying to explain and like, you know, because you wanted it to link to your feature, and so I felt like I was just the one who was like, no, I think people would get it. And then you would be like, but I want to add another twist. And I think we should do like another thing here. And
that's the best impression of me I've ever seen. I was
just like, okay.
I do that. I'm so manic. Like, I'm like, this is good, but it's not good enough. And anytime I feel like it's too obvious, even though I'm sure and you probably know this because I think you've been around for the last couple films that I've done. I feel like I do a draft and it's pretty like you kind of know where it's going as you go. You're like, all right, we're gonna end up here, we're gonna end up here, we're gonna end up here, cool. And then I write it and I go, fuck this, and then I grab it again and I'm like, all right, what if right here instead of this happening, it's actually this person? You know? And then at this point, what if it's this person? And then I throw it back at Jobeth or like one of my other people, and I'm like, all right, now read it. Do you get it? Do you get the and I planted seeds between it. I'm so freaking mad.
I feel like that's always after I read a script, the first thing you say is like, do you get it? Do you get what's happening? Did you get that this was this and this? And I'm like, yep, I think so.
How many versions
did you do now? You just spoiled it.
Did you get the final-ish version? Because I know the final version isn't the final version because we changed things on set. We shot it all in one day, and then and then I went, we need to do this, and I always do that on sets. I'm always like, ooh, we're ahead. I actually have an idea that will link this to link this. Just shoot it, and that's what we did with the ending. I don't think the original script I sent to you guys or we had involved you hugging someone else at the end.
Yeah, no, you handed me. I don't think you handed me a new script on set.
Yeah.
You just said, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Which I said, okay.
That sounds right. When people can just go with whatever I'm doing, I love it, because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like a crash course when you're about to create something. You literally show up, you have your material, and you're like, all right, I either get it or I don't. Which at that point, it's not my point, because I gave you all the script. So I'm like, I hope everybody gets roughly what I need from them. And then I don't adjust people unless I feel like I have to adjust. And usually once I adjust people, they got it. And I'm like, cool, that's perfect. Keep going. And so, yeah, I'm trying to think how many things did we change on set. I just know it was the ending. I know it was the ending. We added we did 3 takes of the ending with Dylan hugging someone. One was me, one was Puga, and then one was Jasmine. And
we did more than that. I feel like it was pretty much, or there was something we did that I did something with just about everybody.
Oh, you're talking about the bed thing. You're talking about the bed thing where you're like laying on the floor?
The hugging thing. Maybe I just hugged more than 3 people.
You probably did. You had a lot of you had a lot of like, I love you guys, except for the ending scene where you're
a ton of that.
right. All right, let's see. We have something from someone. What do they say? I'm gonna read it out loud because I don't know what it says. It says, "I'll bite. I'll start by saying I loved it. I wanted to ask what you guys went into this looking for. Like, was there an image in your head of a concept you were trying to capture on film? Did that change as you rewrote the script?" Good question, Kitty. I guess I'll start on that one. The concept for me initially, and Jobeth, I talked to you a lot about when I'm developing something. I talk to you a lot about those things because I feel like you know so much about independence and independent movies. That's Independence Day, about independent films, that I feel like when I throw something at you, you're like, go watch this, or that I see it coming. You usually give me feedback that I like because it comes from a place of a very specific type of movies. You know, I'm hoping I'm making sense. So I've been going to Jobeth a lot, even with what I'm working on now. And so initially, when I was working on the movie I'm working on now, which is called The Lana Experiment, I've been working on it since last year, and I stopped working on it to make this. And with that one, I knew that one was about a little corporation or a little company turned corporation and the beginning of it. So I was like, I'm gonna make another movie for this film festival. And when I was writing it, my brain was still in the spot of the movie because I'm engulfed in it. Not as much then as I am now, but I was engulfed in it. And I knew that my brain wanted to link them. I knew this was going to take place slightly in the future, and the world was going to be very different than my other movies. And so I'm like, well, how do you do that? And I thought, well, what happens if the company in the movie that I'm working on actually got government funding, and it just blew up and it became another Cyberdyne, so to speak, without supercomputers? You know, what if they actually controlled everything? Which is also, in a weird way, kind of how our climate feels, you know, in the U.S. for the international people, where it feels like everything's overly controlled and, you know, no politics, but everything just feels off. So I'm like, what if the thing that people crave more than anything is just being accepted, being loved, being understood? What if that was a lie? You know, like it existed, but can you really trust anyone? You know? And I think that's where it connected. It went from that movie into this, and then the idea for this was way bigger than I thought it was when I was trying to make it work. And then I got to the point of, can I make this work in a 10-minute short, or not? And so that when the rewriting process came, and it was like, what do you take out? What do you need? I know I need these little things. I know I don't need these. I want the cast small, even though the cast is probably one of my biggest for a short. Not my biggest ever, but my biggest for a short. We had, how many people did we have? We had at least 7 people, I want to say.
Yeah.
At least 7 people. So, for a short, for us shooting it in one day, I'm surprised we got it all, to be completely honest. But we got it all. What about you guys? Any thoughts on that subject?
I totally lost track of what the question was.
My monitor, so everybody knows, my monitor has been tripping on me for a while, and it was fine. Right now, it just turned off. So my front monitor that has my chat has gone away. So I have to open the app just to look at the monitor again. I mean, look at the chat. Yeah. So oh, it turned on. All right. So we'll start with you, Dylan. Off of the question, was there an image of your head when you first read it? When you first got whatever I sent you?
Whatever you sent me. Like in terms of like a stylized image, or in terms of like, you know, the
any,
like you were going like whatever you're going for. I mean, I got that it was not so much Orwellian. I'll tell you where I imagine if Brazil was a brighter picture.
Okay.
I was that's what I thought of.
Brazil in a brighter picture. Interesting.
I mean, just like visually, mood, everything like that, but still like there was something Brazil about it. Like it was just this odd, futuristic, all-encompassing. Yeah. That wasn't even a complete sentence.
What about you, Jobeth?
Well, I'll come at it from like my character, where like when I was reading the various drafts that you were sending me, I think what I pictured is pretty close to what you completed.
That's good.
And like the world you were creating was definitely one that like I didn't even think that I was going to play a character in it, because that's not really, I don't really fit into that world.
It's a very cookie cutter world.
So,
but then, although I think that's why it kind of works, though, is because all the friendship, all the, you know, the happiness, it's all fake.
Yeah.
In that world. Not to say that you're fake, Jobeth. I'm just saying that. But it's all for show.
Yeah.
Right. And like, then when he asked me to like consider playing a role and like asked me how normal I could look if I could fit into this world, I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. And I guess I can do that. Like, you know, I can put my hair down and, you know, tuck this in and all of that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until he was explaining to me that my character is like super fake, and like that was a disguise. And so the fact that would just naturally come across for me, because I did feel super uncomfortable in those clothes. Like, I love playing like prosthetic creature characters, and I feel more myself with like tons of prosthetics and like looking all gross and weird than I do wearing like that dress and that pink sweater. So I think that ended up, once I got that, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the pink dress and like looking normal is probably the scariest thing you've worn. Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, it kind of was. I felt super weird that day. I think also the fact that I had to wear like, it was like 8 pairs of nylons to cover my tattoos, because you decided on the day that like you wanted me in a dress and not pants. And I was like, I have leg tattoos.
That was something that I knew the moment I got you. I think I'm pretty sure I told someone. I was like, I like for Jobeth in my head, because I have a very specific like I know where to place you when I make things. Like I don't have to question it. On this one, it was hard to put you in because I know how I needed everybody to be.
Yeah.
And so I needed to make sure, everything that distinguished you, and makes you such an individual person that you are in the best way, I needed that not to exist. I needed you to be as fake and as
bizarro Jobeth.
yeah, as like let's get Jobeth and make her as weird as possible. How do you do that? Make her all American, and whatever all American is, and whatever the BS all American is. And so that's why I'm like, I need you in a dress. I need you. We have to hide your tattoos. No nose ring. Can't have any shaved head. Which I think at one point I'm like, send me a picture with you with your hair down, and you did, and I'm like, cool, that works.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were on set, and our amazing Kimberly Jolly, who was our costumer and wardrobe, she came and she's like, these are the dresses I got. And I quickly went, I don't want anything on Jobeth that's black. I don't want anything, so we're gonna go with that dress because I didn't.
Or like dark colored. It couldn't even be like a darker tone.
No, I needed it so completely, as far away from what someone normally would think of when they see the colors black and red. I wanted it as far as well, I can't speak right now. As far from that idea that the mind automatically creates as possible. So I needed you because you already had dark hair, and you have dark eyes, and so anything complementing that would automatically make you the villain to someone who doesn't know what's happening, which is already a script that is very easy, in my opinion, for people to go, wait, what? So I don't want them to go automatically assume you're a bad person, even though you are. I need them to be like,
couldn't give it away that.
I couldn't give it away. Like, it had to be in the look at the end, like, you mother effer. You know what I mean? So I made sure, I'm like, no color. I don't want anything, not no color. I don't want any dark colors, anything that represents negativity in her scene. And so we changed. I'm like, I don't care. We'll make it work. I don't care. We're not using black. We are not. And even when I was editing it, like, you stand out. Your black hair compared to the white dress or the off-white dress, like, it just pops as one. And so, yeah, if you were all in black, it wouldn't have worked. I knew it then, and I still stick by it, and I'm happy that we got it to work. Because you're so nice and whatever until, the evil comes out.
We're still talking about the character, right?
No, we're talking about Jobeth. We're talking about Jobeth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
She's so evil. Look at her awesome taxidermy. It's not taxidermy. The little things in your background. Oh.
A cat.
Yes. I wasn't sure what it was. If it was a cat or something else.
It's a cat. It's a cat skeleton.
Jobeth, am I remembering correctly that you did like a xenomorph cosplay at some point?
Did.
Yeah. Okay. I am thinking that. Because, damn, that thing looked cool.
Thanks. It was super unfinished, and luckily I used all black to make it so that I didn't I hadn't really painted anything except the head, but I wanted to wear it to Comic-Con last year so bad that I just was like, it's finished enough.
Oh, it looked great. Even though, like, I know you were like, it's not finished. We were all looking at it going, this is amazing. Like, people loved it. Like, it was hard to get her away from people on the floor at Comic-Con, because everybody, not even just the floor, it was the sidewalk, it was in freaking, what's that downtown city called? I always forget. Lamplight? No. Is it Lamplight? Even there, like, walking to our hotel was a pain in the butt in the best way. But 5 days of that, you're just like, Jobeth, your costume's amazing.
Well, I didn't wear it all 5 days. I make a point of not, like, if something ends up being that way, then I always want you guys to feel free to ditch me, because
we did.
That just kind of
we had to. She was literally one of the best costumes in all of Comic-Con, with no bias, was Jobeth's. Even if it was unfinished, it looked fucking cool.
I would not even know it was I only saw the pictures that you posted, and I had to share that with people just because
it was such an amazing costume.
Such an amazing costume. Man, I should have had some of those images prepped here so we can like go through the creativity that you have. Out of all the creativity,
you have my Instagram posted. They're on my Instagram, so
we should do a stream about like creation of like get cosplayers who like really good cosplayers and do another one of these because that'd be fun. But yeah, your costume was amazing.
I mean, we are doing a stream about creation, about your creation of this film.
Yep, and then we're gonna do more because I'm running out of films to show that I can legally show. So we'll get to a point where let me lower my mic down.
It makes me wonder what kind of films are you making that you can't legally show them?
Stuff. I have some really old movies that I made that are not porn. I have some really old movies that are real bad, but like they're on discs, so I don't have a disc drive on my computer. I'd have to figure out how to burn them off. And then the other thing about those movies is because I was learning, and they're old. They have a lot of music that I cannot play. Yes.
That's
like
fine.
All of the stuff I've been using, it's either someone's that gave me permission or non copyrighted, whatever I forgot what the phrase is at the moment. So
Creative
I can.
Commons?
What was that?
Creative Commons?
Yes, it's Creative Commons. That wasn't what I was looking for, but yes, it is Creative Commons. So
Public domain.
Huh?
Public domain.
No, it's not. It's Creative Commons, but it's non-royalty. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's Creative Commons. So these I can show. Up in Smoke, when I showed it a few days ago, I showed it, but at the same time I can't fully release it because multiple reasons. Plus, it's a SAG. That one was a SAG contract. So there's different things. But the other ones, if I showed it, then I'd have to delete it really quickly. And I could, but they're bad. They're like great, but they're bad. Like I might do it next month. I'd have to figure out how to remove them from the disc. But you'd probably laugh, Jobeth. One was like no script.
Like, are you talking like so bad they're good kind of bad?
One is really freaking funny because it's all improvised, but like we'll have to we'll have to do a stream on that. It's so bad. It's bad in a good way, and then it gets corny, and it wasn't meant to be corny. It was me still learning balance between how to make something not corny when you're telling someone, I've been looking for you, in comparison to them actually running around and looking for someone, where it's just hilarious because it's the stupidest thing. That was a movie called John. I think that one was called John on Blangata, right? I made another one called A Second Chance at Reality, which is dark, and that one I like. That one I think in the future, if I had a budget, I could make that into a feature because it's just dark and like demented, and so I made it into a short. And I like that one. That one I think I can show. No, I can't because it's Twitch and it's there's someone dies with a gunshot. So, but you know, at that point, you're just trying things. Now I feel like I have a grasp of how I like making my movies and what I need and what I don't. So it's a lot. You know, I'm learning a lot more of the what's the word I'm looking for? Again, I'm looking for more words. It's the legality of it, of what I can show, what I can't, what will hurt the production, what won't, how we can move quickly and efficiently versus what's needed and what's not. You know, it's a constant learning, and I feel like I'm learning. So that's why we're gonna make a fucking I don't know why I cussed again. That's why I'm gonna make a freaking feature, and I'm gonna burn down that ship. I'm gonna die trying, like I did with Up in Smoke. You know, that one cost me a lot in my life. This movie, if I do it right, will cost me a lot of money, more than that. But we'll see. So, yeah, it's just a process. Okay, so let's go here, Dylan. Let's go with you, since you got it and you thought, you said you thought of what you did. What did you think about your character? Was there a specific image besides what you said earlier?
I mean, really the only image I had was all I would think of was like, just how would I play it?
Yeah.
And then when you warned me that things would change on set, I'm like, okay, so how am I going to play it? And then what can I do going into this that I can adjust?
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, there wasn't like anything like I was going for stylistically or targeting or anything like that. So I just wanted it play the moments as they were with the information that I had. I mean, that could be one of the most actory kind of responses, but yeah, I wasn't trying to emulate anything or do anything. I was seriously just trying to like, okay, this is the moment and the information I've been given, so play that.
Good job.
Thanks.
You killed it. What about you, Jobeth? You had, I feel like you also had the biggest, the greatest amount of change. Like, I feel like I put you in such a box with this character. You know, I like the worst thing to do to someone is put them in a box. I went, this is your box, play in this box, and then I closed the box and made it smaller, and then I went, all right, at the end you can show what's in the box.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it was fun to play with, and it was very, I feel like what I thought you wanted for the character was very different from when I like actually got to set and we were like going to film my scene, and then you were like, oh, she's like this and she's doing this, and it just like clicked, and I was like, oh, okay. And so then it just felt very natural and very easy from like the place my character was coming from. And especially since after reading all the drafts and like keeping straight what had been kept story-wise and what had been changed and like thrown out, even as far as Joe's character was very different when we were doing the scene than I had initially thought. And it ended up being more fun to play than I had expected initially.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. It's what I like to call a creative wave. It's just like the ups and downs when you're like, this looks dumb, and then you like are on set and you're like, oh, this is different. Or anywhere in that whole process of, you know, writing it to reading it to being a part of it to whatever your part is to, you know, shooting it, and then after that you're kind of just let go and be like, I'm done. But I feel like it's just this wave of like, hey Herb, like I have a question. All right, what's your question? This. All right, and then you go back to like, I feel like from an actor aspect. Wow, I can't speak. Aspect yeah, I said ass for a second. From an actor aspect, I feel like everybody has an image. Some people, every time I do create a project and I decide who I'm gonna cast, people either have questions or don't at all. And if they don't, then I go, okay. And I assume they get it. If they do, or if it's a very, very, very specific puzzle in the piece of the puzzle, then it becomes like I then have to go, we have to talk about it. Because I know that in every project, there's always one key moment. There's a key moment where if this isn't conveyed a certain direction or a certain way, the whole thing just crumbles. I'm trying to think what it is in this movie. I don't even know which one it is in this movie. But I know that they always exist, and I know it. I'm like, this is the scene that matters. And that's not me kicking the other scenes. It's just the emotional core is either there or it's going to not give away what's going to happen later. And that would be the moment. And since I give people so much freedom most of the time, usually when we get to those scenes, I'm like, I need you to be on point. And then adjust. And that's the moment I kind of caress. Because everything else is fun. A movie to me should be fun unless it's going to make you cry. And if a movie's going to make you cry, then I want you to fucking cry. Like, I want to break you. Like, whatever emotion I want, I'm trying to get, I want it like, I want it. So if we're doing a fun movie, which that's what this is on the surface, to me, it's supposed to be a fun movie, and then you're just like, oh shit, this is, like, I want audience to feel like they got duped, you know? And then when you show up with Jasmine again at the end, I want it to feel like the knife turned, you know?
Yeah.
So I have
now that the veil's been lifted.
Yeah.
You don't see the veil the same way anymore once you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, to me, I think I had 3 moments The first reveal is with Joe, when Joe says, "This is who I am," and the second reveal is, and it's the other reason why I wanted you to be just like a nice guy, and we'd have those takes where I'm like, it's not right, and then I'm like, that's fucking it, we got it, and I would show it like all proud to my DP Gerson, and he'd look at it, he's like, shit, yeah, we have it. I'm like, yeah, I just needed that. I needed it to be like, Joe is such a sweet guy. And that's why I was like, this is the guy. He's such a sweet guy. He's so sweet that you actually are the sweet guy. Like, you just trust, you know? It's not, oh, he's a sweet guy. It's like, I trust that guy. So I needed that to happen from the sweet guy, so that as the barrel or as the boulder just kept moving, and you're just like, right, what the hell's going on? And you think that Jobeth is the villain, which to a degree she is, you know? Then you realize, in reality, you're all villains. You're all the bad guys. You know, he just had a moment of clarity and of hope to reveal what his deepest, darkest secret is, which ultimately did the same for you, and which caused him his life. You know what I mean? So, to me, it's like, the moment he reveals himself is the first, like, what? That sucks. And to the moment you reveal yourself, and you're like, oh, that really sucks. Into the moment that, oh, he's going to keep doing it to everybody. Like, and that's, I think, how my process went on this one. And the last moment, is the moment I think I didn't have, when it's you hugging and we just repeated the circle. Because I like going back, and I don't think I had it as clear until we got there. And I'm like, oh shit, this is what we need. I have these people. I've already shot them. They're already in the first third of the movie. No, first quarter of the movie. You repeat it at the end, and you just you know. I challenge you to break me. Oh, Ariel Tiana said she challenges me to break her. I'm working on it. That's what I'm trying to do with the current project. I hope that it breaks everybody, and that's why I'm having problems with it, because working on it for so long, I'm at the point where I would turn everything up on its heels on my current script, and I almost can't get myself to the point of mentally understanding where I want this guy to suffer. I'm at the point in my script where I'm gonna make him suffer like a mother effer, and I think mentally I'm not ready for that. So I'm having issues on my script with my writer's block. But that's my hope on this one. Like, I hope it's like Eternal Sunshine to a degree, where you watch it and you're just like, oh shit, that just sucks, you know, in the best way. That's my goal. That 500 Days of Summer, like that emotional core of everybody relates to something in this, and it's something you don't want to relate to. But that's me going on a different project. This short will kind of be a sequel in the future, kind of like a spin-off of that world, but it's if this little company actually succeeded. Not saying they're gonna succeed in the movie, because they might not. They might go bankrupt. But if in one universe they succeeded,
but they made it this far,
huh?
But they made it this far.
Well, in one universe they might have, or someone bought them. It could have gone. There's so much time that has passed in my head of everything that could have happened to a company that just wanted to do one simple thing, you know, and it turned into this government-controlled thing. So that's why, if on the poster, if you look at the poster, in the bottom it says a product of Lana Inc. The movie's called Lana, the Lana Experiment. Same company. So, and that's what the product is. P.E.A.C.E is the product. And Lana Inc. isn't a real company. It's a fake company. So that's where they connect. But we will see what happens. If anybody has questions, please put it on the chat. I know Kitty did, so thank you, Kitty. But if you're still around, or anyone has any questions about any aspect of this project, or any questions specific to Jobeth or Dylan, please type it in the chat. And yeah. What up? What up? What up? Do you guys have any thoughts? Anything about anything? How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel about now? You've seen it already. Now seeing the finished product, like from point A to point Z, what is the biggest difference in the whole project? And it could be your part, it could be anyone's part, it can be anything. From the moment you got the draft you got to the moment you actually got to see the project. They're thinking.
I feel like it was pretty close to how you had described it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like the only thing that was different to me was like the like announcer voice, which even though you had like said it in the script that it was supposed to be like monster truck rally announcer voice, like that was the only part that like I was like I couldn't picture how that would fit together.
Mm-hmm.
But after seeing, I was like, oh, there it is. And then with those the little poppers.
Oh, the poppers. That's a whole other thing. We can have a whole conversation about those poppers. Let's get back to the poppers in like a second. But oh yeah, the poppers. What about you, Dylan? On the same question.
Actually, a lot of my stuff, like the scenes that we shot for me, were pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. From the draft that you gave me to what we shot. Mm-hmm. It was, like all the other stuff, all the outside stuff, the hugging thing, those things all changed up because you were coming up with stuff on set. Oh, wouldn't it be great if this happened? And so we tried that. But most of the stuff that I shot was pretty much as you gave it to me. I know we made adjustments and everything like that, and in the moments, and then of course you steering me in other directions or hit those beats and moments that you needed me to hit. But yeah, I don't remember there being that much different.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes complete sense. The poppers. Were you there, Dylan? Were you there? I know you were there all day because we shot this all in a day.
Yeah.
In a very chaotic day where a lot of things were happening. You were auditioning for something else in the middle of it.
Yeah, I had to run away in the middle of. No, it wasn't an audition. I was shooting something the next day, and I had wardrobe. So I had to drive. I had to drive and go do wardrobe and then come back.
And it worked out perfectly. It was like,
yeah, thank God. I felt horrible because it was supposed to be because it's like because I was supposed to go to wardrobe the day before we shot this. Like, oh, this will all work out perfectly. I'll do wardrobe. I'll shoot P.E.A.C.E. Then I'll do the, the commercial. And then there's like, no, we're switching you to, son of a bitch. Okay.
It can never be easy.
Hey, when something has no money, you got to figure it out. So. But it worked out. You came back. I honestly thought you weren't going to come back, to be honest, because traffic, and not because you didn't want to, but I mean like traffic in LA. And then, I've been in productions when they're like, this will take 30 minutes. And you're there for like 3 hours. And you're like, the heck? Right. So I was just like, in my head, just off of my experience on when I did that a lot, I was like, I just have to imagine that he's not coming back. Worst case scenario. And make sure that all my puzzle pieces will still work with what I have. And then when you showed up, I was like, sweet, we can do this stuff that we didn't do or whatever. So... yeah, it worked out perfectly. So it was great. Jobeth, the poppers.
I would have found a way back because I just felt terrible having to leave you in the middle of the day.
It's all good. We got. I think you even left. Like the plan for you to leave. Like we were like, this is the time you have to leave to make it there on time. I'm pretty sure you left half an hour after our estimated.
Yes.
Yeah. So I knew. I think there was only one moment I was like, oh shit, we forgot one thing, and I think we got it. I think we got it when you came back. But, it worked out. So
we got it at some point. I don't remember anymore. That was January.
That was January. That was a tough day.
2020 has been 4 years long.
It was the day of the death of a famous basketball player. So we found that all on set. So
yeah, I found out when I was driving to the.
Yeah. I took a moment, and my team was like, "We got to tell you something," and I was like, "What? So and so died," and I was like. Yeah, you're lying. And they're like, no, for reals. And why? And I was like, that makes sense because there was all this fog driving up. But yeah, that sucked. I had to be like, ugh, all right, We'll deal with that later. But yeah, that was a rough day. And then but yeah, let's talk about the poppers. Jobeth, what were your thoughts? Let's delve a little deeper into the chaos. I don't want to say I love the word chaos. The poppers.
Yeah. Well, it sounded so simple when you said what you wanted, and you were like, I just need hands in frame to like do these little poppers. But then the actual execution of it, I know there's like a couple pictures
Oh yeah.
of like the awkward positions we all were like standing in to get our arms and hands in just the right place, and then having to like frame but then come back into frame in the exact right, and I was like trying to balance all weird and like in a sort of squat, but then my hands had to be super high, but then my head had to be ducked out of frame. And
one of my favorite pictures of that whole process is the one where you're just like this, and someone took it, and you're just in this weird like wide stance.
It was probably the worst picture of me in existence.
I disagree. It's so good. It makes me so happy. Like,
I mean, I appreciate it because it really demonstrates how, especially since I was in that dress.
Yeah, you were still in that dress, so you were all like, your legs were all wide, and you were all like this, and like
nylons on.
And it's you, and I think Nay was on the floor, and I think I forgot who was on the other side, and you guys are all just trying to get it because I'm like, we have the shot here. We can't move the camera because we have the blue sky. It's perfect. All I want is the hands coming in together, popping it, and just staying. And I'm like, this will look corny.
The amount of takes that we had to do.
I
feel like we did it so many times.
And we did, and we used, I think, every variation we've used. Because we did one with 3 hands, one with 2 hands, one with 1 hand, and one of the questions: how many popper takes did y'all have? Poppers, we had a box of like 60 something poppers. We had a big box of poppers.
It was like a Costco box.
Yeah, it was a Costco box that Nay was getting. I'm like, I don't need this many. I need like 10. She's like, well, now you have enough. I was like,
little
all right.
You know.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yes, you had what you needed.
I had, at the end of it, like, we put a little plastic on the floor so it'd be easier to clean, so we didn't mess up the house we were in. And then we just went. I'm like, hey, we have so many. If it doesn't work, we do it again, and whatever. And we didn't. Yeah, we had so many. I'm still laughing at how many poppers we had, and all the times that I was like, and I had to be very. And I remember, I'm like, these images to me, in comparison to everything else, was so specific and so weird, but so funny to me that I knew it had to be right. Because someone looking at it going, all right, and then there's a comedy visual. Like, most of my comedy, to me, in the movie, is like holding a beat. Making a moment, holding a shot long enough where it's awkward, you know? And that's what I felt like I did. It looks like it's bad editing, like that, oh, he should have cut. I'm like, no. I purposely went, just keep doing it until I say cut. Because I wanted it to be like, this is now getting awkward. And to me, I watch it and I laugh.
Yeah, I will say I definitely appreciated that you knew exactly how you wanted it for that shot too.
For the poppers?
Because, I can't imagine if you were like, oh, well, let's try it this way. Well, let's try it that, the fact that you were like, no, it has to be just this way. Mm-hmm. And so it was just the trying to execute the way you had it in your mind.
And I love that shot so much. Like, I want to put it in everything I do. Like, just but I won't. I'll remake it. But it's to me, it's just so funny to me. It's like a big celebration. Poppers. Like, how, like, let's get something that's so cheap and used at little kids' birthday parties to pretend it's pyro and treat it like the biggest thing that's possible in this world. We're being safe. We're doing a little I still makes me laugh. I think it's a funny idea. So yeah, like How was it to you, Dylan, just watching all this popper chaos?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, it's almost like when you said this should be really easy. I'm like, oh, you said it. You said it.
You're right. I thought it was gonna be the easiest shot because I knew what I wanted.
And the easiest shots are usually the ones where you're just going, damn it, gotta do it again, gotta do it again.
And you're right. I didn't. To me, I was like, cool. We're gonna breeze through this in like 20 minutes, and I think we still did it in time. I think, but it was still like up to the point where I'm like, gotta just. Yeah. This is it. This is it. All right, we'll do it one more, but it doesn't matter. We have it. All right, cool. Let's go to 2. Let's go to 1. I love that shot. I want to just replay that shot now, but I can't. Oh man, the poppers, and
you should just do like a super loop of like all the popper shots.
Man, maybe I should. Just like it's like 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, or 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, just like mix them up and just have it like.
Make it a 4-hour video for YouTube. It's just in a 4-hour loop.
and you're gonna just check on it one day. 2 million views.
People like seeing poppers go, man. They just love it. They love it. That's so funny. Mm-hmm. Oh man, maybe I'll do that. What else shots did we have that were? I'm trying to think of all our shots now. The bed scene, the bed scene.
That was just what I was thinking. That was
weird,
awkward.
All right, so before I talk about it and my reasoning or my thoughts behind it, what were your thoughts when you see a piece of plastic on the floor and I'm like, I need you guys to do this movement and not move the camera and crawl under the tripod, and then like, what were your thoughts when you were like? When that happened?
Honestly, it was like, okay. It's like, sure, that's all right. I'll do it. That's why I'm here, to do whatever it is you say to do. Doesn't matter how weird it is. I'm not here to make sense of it. It's like, lay on the thing, close, turn. All right. Okay. We got it. Okay, great.
What about you, Jobeth?
Well, it was harder for me because we had the issue with my hair covering the shaved sides of my head.
Yeah.
And every time, and you were like, can you try to turn without your hair like brushing to the side? I was like, So we had to do it. We had to do a few takes.
Yeah. And I think I think I figured it out there. I'm like, I'm going to put yours. I'm going to use your segment here before. It was either before or after I knew the hair reveal would happen, and I didn't want that. So I'm like, all right, I just have to put yours here, and it'll be fine. And yeah. So okay, that's funny. So the whole thought was initially that whole scene, and obviously you guys have seen it now in the project, was supposed to be waking up. The whole like everybody has the same routine moving forward, and as the night progressed, and I think we didn't have something to make it work. We were able to make it work with what we did, and it got late.
We were losing the light too. That was like the last thing we did.
Yeah, like the hope initially was finding a room. I wanted to do it in a house on a bed, but then I knew that if I did that, it wouldn't work because then I would have to deconstruct the whole room with something that we don't have money or a budget for. So faking it made the most sense because we can flip that over and go on to the next scene. Sadly, it was one of our least important shots, which is why we kept moving it back. Like I think the initial plan was to do it like midday, noonish, and because we had more important stuff and you had the audition and everything was going on, we're like we can't. We can fake this shot if we're gonna keep the same shot. We can fake it. Just have a whole bunch of light hit you in the face, do the little moment, and then because it's gonna be like the closest thing to a vignette of just like We lost light. We just hit we just put a whole bunch of light on you guys and went go sneak in, go down, get it as close as possible, and just. So, what'd you think of that final section of the bed? Now seeing it, is it just like, oh, that's what I thought it was gonna be, or was it something?
Yeah, you made it work. It's like here, but again, too. I mean, you have a very specific thing of like what you wanted.
Yeah.
And you're good at saying this is how I want it to look. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looked the way you said you wanted it to look. So
yeah, I just needed the
You explained what the goal was.
right.
My audio's freaking out.
I said you explained what the goal was, and so we knew what we were trying to achieve.
And you achieved it. I'm really shocked, to be honest, that we got all of that done in a day. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like chapter 32 was done in a day, but that one made the most sense. It was a two-person, like it was mainly a two-person shoot. We shot half of the day was the first person. In the middle of the day, they kind of interlooped, and then the first person left. The second person came in or was already in and just finished off whatever she needed to do. So for this one, for having as many cast members as we had, I was shocked. I was shocked that we were able to pull it.
Shots that there were too. I mean, there were a lot of setups in this thing.
Yeah, a lot of setups. Yeah. It seems like it really seems like, if you break it down, that it's simple, but it wasn't. You know, it looks like it's one scene outside, one scene inside, and little vignettes in the front and the back, and that's like the easiest way to say it, but it's not that. It was a lot.
Well, I mean, just in the confrontation scene inside. There are so many setups just in that scene itself.
Yeah.
And how many different ways we did it too.
Yeah.
To find where the frame was, to find the, hit the mood, and then the intercuts and going from 2 shots to 1 shots to
finding those moments, doing the pickups. Yeah.
Banged out a lot in that time.
Yeah, I'm shocked that we were able to do it. It's a good job to everybody involved. To Gerson, Gerson's not here. To Gerson, to Obed, and Nay. It's everybody involved. We were able to pull it off, and I like it. I like watching. I realize I like the stuff I make more after I get away from it, and I come back to it, and I'm like, ugh, and then I watch it, and I'm like, cool. So we got another question.
I'll say that could be the problem you're having with your script too.
Could be.
Because you're sitting there in the middle of it. You need to step away for a little bit and come back.
Oh, that's what I've been doing during this whole quarantine. My whole goal has been, if I finish this script, if I get through. Initially, I was thinking that we were gonna go back to work around June. I was like, if I get a first draft, I've succeeded at quarantine. And now that it's longer, I want to be through the second draft.
That explains everything. Finish your damn script so we can finish this quarantine.
Right?
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You guys are going to wait. So, and the script's going to be awesome. I can't wait. All right. So we have a couple questions, or at least a big paragraph. So I'm going to read the whole thing. How do you go about budgeting shots if it's kind of on your feet? Wait, how do you go about budgeting shots if it kind of's on your feet? Do you have in mind how much you'll need per shot, or is it something you do as you decide to shoot something new? Like, in what portion of the creative process is the budgeting filtered in? Do you say, I can only do this with a budget, or is it, I have this much, so let's see what I can do with it? So I can speak on that on my end. I know Jobeth does a whole bunch of stuff, and Dylan is an amazing stand-up and does a lot of stuff. So I think this is a really good question. So I think we should all talk about that in our own respective thing. Like, Jobeth, you have so many. Like, you can talk about costumes. Like, your freaking costume is amazing. Like, so I think that's a good question for all of us. I will talk about budgeting for me overall and me in this project. So when I write, I first don't think of budget. I think of what's interesting. Once I get to a point where I know what my concept is, and I know this is roughly where I'm going to be at, then I start thinking budget. I think, can I make this? Because me going and getting my friends and getting some type of budget and compare, like a small, like a couple $100, and everybody's like pretty much working for free, in comparison to like Up in Smoke, where even with people working for free, it was still a few $1,000s, comes into place. So I have scripts that I love that are short. Like, I have a couple short films that I wrote years ago and put away because I knew I couldn't shoot it. And then I randomly would find it, and I'm like, this is great. Yet, I know I can't make it because I know I need to do a budget for it just so it gets the love that I feel that script deserves. And those scripts are also very specific. If you don't sell a certain image, even like I have a script called what is it called? The X. I think it's called The X. And if I don't pull off this guy's world, and it's not sci-fi, it's something real simple. It's almost it's simpler than this movie, and this movie takes place in the future. It won't work. So for that one, I've kept to the side. This one we were trying to do for a specific reason, so I knew I would have to adjust it in any way I can. Luckily, knowing that, I went, what do we really need? And so I get actors, and I'm like, hey, I can't pay you on this one. If you don't want to do it, I understand it. And I've had many actors come at me and go, hey, I want to be in your movie. I want to be in your movie. I'm like, this is the 100% truth about where we are for this project. And I've had actors go, after fighting for weeks, I want to be in it. I want to be in it. I want to be in it. I'm like, this one doesn't pay. They're like, can't do that. Peace. And I'm like, all right, just wasted a month, you know? So I'm very open. I'm like, which are the projects where we have some money and which ones we don't. And from there, you just do the best you can. Some projects have the money and, you know, there's good food. Others, there's no money, and I make sure there's some food. Like, I always feed everybody. That's my goal. Make sure there's food, make sure there's snacks, make sure you're happy, and then ignore you while I go do a billion things. You know? So for this one, after I knew where I was going, and knowing that we have a deadline for a very specific thing, the thought then becomes, how much can I pull this off? And then shot ideas that were already, like the popper one, I'm like, I knew I wanted poppers. That wasn't a big deal. It's a popper. $20 gives you like 1,000 of them. It's not, you know? So food, I always put in like, I give it to whoever's responsible for that, and I'm like, here's $100. Do what you think. And most of the time, we don't even hit $100 because we don't have that many people. On a project that takes multiple days, then you know it's going to be dependent on how many people are there and how much food you're going to get. Snacks are usually an overall thing. We get a cooler, we fill it with snacks, and then it's equipment. And so for this project, luckily, we have a guy, Malcolm, his name's Malcolm, very talented guy. He lent a lot of equipment. I bought some, I had some others, and he lent out the sound equipment, mics. I have a slate. The slate was mine. And then the DP had his camera and his lenses. And then I got more lenses from Malcolm. So, and I offered to pay him, and he was like, you're good, just take care of it. We did. So that would have been most of the budget. Most of the budget would have been, for something like this, would have been equipment. Because you can't, like, you can, I've made movies, Chapter 32 was made with an iPhone, you know? So the equipment on each of my movies gets a little better every time, but that's where the money most, that and the food. I won't disparage the food. There will always be food. But then, you know, the project goes, hey, I have a project. Are you interested? And if people say yeah, then I'm very fortunate. If they say no, then I go, okay. And I just keep going. Because sometimes you just want to make something, and, you know, one thing will lead to the next one, will lead to the next one. And as Jobeth, I'm sure, knows that every movie that she's been around for had an increase in production value. Every one, you know? And it's not really off of anything I did. It's just we do one. Someone else is like, that's good. Do you need this? Do you need that? And we're like, yeah. And then something else is added in. And for this one, we had a lot of equipment that wasn't ours. That was just, they were like, here, use it. So I think visually, this is one of the most gorgeous looking projects. Really good. You know, I wish we had all this stuff for Chapter 32, because you know, and also I always mix the audio, and I'm not an audio mixer, so I would go in and, like, this time we had our sound guy Obed was responsible for all the sound, So he recorded the audio, he adjusted everything, and then when the whole project was done, I kept sending him versions of it, and he would adjust it and make a master audio clip. So the audio, though we both saved it separately and with the footage, that helped me cut it, and then he had the raw data, and he would sync it up if he needed to, and then just do adjustments. And he did the whole thing. Like, at the end of post, I finished the cut, and he was still working for a good couple weeks after, nonstop, without sleeping, just for the audio. So the audio is the most leveled audio of any project I've ever done, you know? So this was a big step in comparison to my last project. I have a guy who's like I told him, I'm like, I have a feature. He's like, I'm gonna need guys. I'm like, let's wait till we get there. But he's already ready. Like, and I have Gerson, who's freaking amazing. I'm gonna make him really work on the next one. And it's just building. You're just building, you know? I'll keep putting you gotta figure out, for a film, you could probably get away with very little money if you're trying to learn and you're trying to figure it out. But on a big project, you can't. So that's why I know that the next mountain I'm climbing is going to be a mountain. And so I hope that answered your question from my end. It's difficult. Sometimes you can get away with stuff and sometimes you can't. So then that turns into, do you make it or do you not? And luckily we were able to make this one. So.
And I feel like that question's pretty much directed to you anyway.
Yeah.
Because and then too, I mean, it depends upon the project. It's like, well, we have the money for a project. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. Or, okay, I have this project. How much, what's my best, worst, and middle case scenario? How much money can I raise to do it?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Jobeth?
Well, I think it's all part of the creative process too. Like, as you continue to make things, you learn things from each project along the way. And so, you would hope that as you continue to create things, they're going to get better and you're going to be, gain more experience and know what you're doing for the next one.
Yeah. We have another question. Sorry, this is dumb. There's no dumb questions. Ask all the questions, no matter how you feel they are. Don't even worry about it. That's why we do this, so we can ask all the questions. Because trust me, I ask myself all the dumb questions anytime I make anything. Nay and again, Jobeth really know, because I will nitpick little things because it's usually moments for me. But where does the money come from? And do you produce movies for convention, or is it just because you have an idea and you're passionate about it? So different reasons. Money. So for this, it came out of my pocket. It was all, I did it because I love it. It's a learning experience for me and for everybody. And so it's like taking a master class, except it's either going to be good or it's going to suck. And if it sucked, people are going to be like, you sucked at it. And you're like, well, I'm learning. And if it's really good, then you're like, oh shit, I made that. And that's worth a million times more.
What did you write?
Right. That's how I felt with certain I talk about Chapter 32 a lot. Chapter 32 was a weird project where, when I finished shooting it and I got the first cut, which I've never felt for a movie. I'm always very like, it's not right. Now we got it. That one, because it was so simple and dialed in, I was very like, oh shit, I got something. And that one I spent nothing. I spent food. And I don't think I had props. For this one was way more, I had to be way more nitpicky because we have all that war footage at the very beginning. And I had to figure out how to balance it to tell the story of what this world is. So this one, just like, again, all of them, I'm finding my groove and going, do I have something? And I did feel like I had something with this one. But most of the money comes out of my pocket. Not chapter 32, Up in Smoke. That money, we did a GoFundMe, and then we raised money from that. We raised a lot of money. One guy even dropped $1,000 for us to make it through a GoFundMe. Someone we knew was like, this is a project that needs to be made. And we gave him like a producer credit, gave him an associate producer credit. And then, so that one we did that. And then again, money came out of pocket. But the little ones, they're usually just out of pocket. So the hope is, this one went to a film festival. Up in Smoke was trying to be a pitch concept for a big agency, so we can then eventually sell it and make it again. So that one was never supposed to be released. And then Chapter 32 was also the same reason we did this one. And then the one before this one, I think, was Dear L. And Dear L was my attempt at something way more artistic than anything. So that one, I wanted to put it in things. I haven't. I'm really bad at finding festivals. I wanted to put in stuff, but I really wanted to delve into how I can create something more artistic and dark, knowing what I know. And I think from that project, I learned the most recently, which is how light, I like doing things practical, how light affects digital content for post. And that's something I've never really ever, because I just do things practically, and I've always had a good, and even when I shot A Second Chance at Reality way back when, that movie, we shot it all in the dark. We did a movie also called A Trip Into that was shot at night, and I lit only certain things, and we were fine. Dear L, I learned in post, not during, but I learned it in post, how the dark scenes, which ironically were also the most emotional ones, affected in a 4K lens, how it affected the noise, the video noise. And I learned that off of that movie. I still love that movie, but now I wish I would have known that before it, because those shots would have been shot completely differently, and it would have been a cleaner image in all of those shots. Though, with the concept of it, of that movie, it kind of still works, because she's kind of in her head more than anything. But yeah, it's one of those, that to me was more of a learning experience, and something very artsy, or the most artsy thing I've done in the last 10 years, video wise. But yeah, every project is different. That one was a learning thing. If I can figure out a place to put that, I will. I think that one's online too. I don't know if that movie can be put on Twitch like this one is. You know, I'm not sure of it. But again, it has dark, visually dark, like low light images that ended up way more grainy than I wanted. So yeah, every project's different. Most of the time, I always plan, if a project is going, if I'm gonna make a project, and it will at least go on YouTube on my page, because I want my page to eventually be a place of content and shorts, unlike content creators, where content creators make like TikTok and short videos. I would like it to be like different things, but actually little shorts that hopefully people can watch and like go, oh, I like this. There's a little story about, you know, whatever. So I hope I answered that question. This screen went back up. Yeah, why do you guys do my movies? I'm not paying you. Why? That's the question I'm gonna ask. Why would you guys, again, professional actors right here who have been in amazing things, why do you look at my little weird ass script that makes no sense to most people, at least depending on the project, and then go, hey, do you want to be in this? And then go, all right, I'm gonna spend my day, or waste it depending on, you know, perspective, and decide to go, all right, I'm gonna follow this weird guy's ideas that I probably don't get and do it. That's my question. Why are you in my projects? Why am I fortunate enough to have you do my projects with no budget?
You're not an
Jobeth's face. She has no. She's like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I have no idea.
Because we're friends.
Right?
And I love acting.
Yeah, but I've had friends who are like, I'm good. Like, I really have friends who are like, I'm good. So, like...
But, like, my thing is, I suck at writing. Like, a lot of actors, I feel like, are able to be like, well, if you want to be in a project, like, write your own project and make your own content for yourself. I can't do that. So I am, like, at the mercy of people. Huh?
You end up making The Room.
Yeah.
That movie made money, though.
But I probably couldn't even, like, if I was doing it by myself, I couldn't even make something like that. I just, like, I need people to be like, here's your lines, or here's the scene you're going to improvise, and this is your character, and then I, like, you know, I get to play. So, but when it's like a bunch of friends, I don't know.
It's a little different. There's a lot more trust, I think, when it's friends you like.
Yeah. And for me too, you know, it's an opportunity to play, you know, and do the kind of thing that I do with people that I like. And yeah, so you asked me to do it. I'm like, yeah.
Why not, right? I think there's another question. Is The Room the butt end of actor jokes? That's you, Dylan. That's a question for you.
Yeah, I made the reference. So, the butt end of actor jokes. You mean?
Yeah, that's what the question is.
Like the butt of the joke or something.
For actors, is the I guess. Yeah. Do you want to be more specific, Kitty, to that? That's a funny. Is The Room?
Yeah, the way that's worded, I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, I think. Sorry.
I don't think it's like a common thing that actors always like bash The Room. Like that's just like the go-to thing to bash.
Yeah.
I don't
every once in a while.
But like, I don't even mean to. I mean, because you got to admire the spirit behind it, and what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And just didn't hit it at all. But that's the thing. It's like you can see that they made this 100% sincerely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it became its own sort of beautiful thing.
It became its own thing.
Yeah.
And it became a thing that he did not intend it to become, but still gave him the notoriety he was seeking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is kind of a lesson for life. It's like you can have your goal in mind, or something that you want in mind, and you might still get it. It just might not show up in the way you thought you were going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you like want to throw yourself into something and you have the passion and drive to do it, like go for it.
Yeah.
Because you just never know.
Yeah, and
granted, none of those people ever work again, but
they made another movie. I know they made another movie, and then I forgot what it's called, but they in the last 5 years, I think they made another movie. But yeah, they the funny thing about The Room is The Room was a movie where they somehow, I don't know how, had all the money in the world, to make this movie somehow, and had no experience making a movie. So they shot it. And this could be a lie, but this is from what I understand. They shot it both on film and digital, which is funny because film's expensive as all hell. You shot it on film and digital, and now you have two versions shot at the same time with the cameras next to each other because someone's like, I have the money, we'll make it work. And they spent a couple million making a movie for the first time, and then, it was in the negative until it became a cult, and now it's in the positive. It's in the positive. Is that the correct terminology? I thought what Dylan was bashing The Room, so I thought it was the go-to movie to shit on. Oh, gotcha. It is and it isn't.
It's a great example of a movie that's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, yeah, but again, it was made by because that was the thing. It's just like, well, as an actor, well, then write your own thing. And some actors can't write, so then you end up with something like that.
Jobeth, if you wrote a script, I'm sure it'd be better than The Room. Like, I'm 100% sure it'll be better than The Room.
Here's the thing, Jobeth, if you wrote a script, you have people who'd be like willing to like read it and give you notes and help like guide you towards a better script, as opposed to writing The Room and thinking, this is amazing, we'll make this.
Yeah, and not questioning it once.
Here's what happens though, if I was like, I think I'm gonna write a script, it's just like, it's just like nothing happens. If someone gives me their script and I can read it, then I can like have ideas about the thing that's already exists. But I always admire people who can write and create something just out of nothing, because I can't do that. I can do that with like visual elements, like art, if it's something tangible that I can get my hands on, but to like come up with a story and get it down onto paper, it's beyond my skills.
There's nothing wrong with that though either, so
yeah, I just know that that's one of the things that is just not something that I can do.
But that's also a good thing, and that's a good thing to know about yourself too. It's like, yeah, this is not something I can do, so
We have another good question, and I'll just read the whole thing verbatim. It says, this is a question for each of you specifically. What is the end goal? This sounds cliche, but besides being successful and growing as artists, actors, actresses, and exploring your prowess, what are you each working towards? Simply, why did you choose acting? Obviously, you guys are good at it, though practice or inherent skill, but was it something you always wanted to do? Jobeth, ladies first.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm throwing it at you first.
Yeah, honestly, I could never see myself doing anything else. It is something that I always wanted to do. And for me specifically, my absolute favorite thing is to play like the monster and creature roles. I love getting into full prosthetics and just getting transformed into something else entirely. Just that entire process, I've always that's always been my end goal, is to just play as many of those kind of roles as possible. And I love, all the other stuff. Like, I loved this project, was like something different to work on, and it was different for me to, put on a light colored dress and a pink sweater and, play with that. But yeah, that's just a part of who I am. And so I just have never imagined doing anything else, really. I have other things that are like hobbies, but yeah. And so just, I don't want to ever achieve like celebrity status or whatever, which I also like about creature roles, the anonymity and just, being able to go and play.
Yeah. Dylan.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. I don't want to say that I have the end goal, because I just don't ever want it to end. It just any opportunities to play. It's and like when you offered me this, just like, hey, I'm shooting this thing, I want you to be in it. I'm like, yeah, I'm free that day. I like you. Let's do it. Yeah. So if it's a chance to play, as long as I can continue doing it and making a living and being creative, and as long as I enjoy it, when I'll quit when I stop enjoying it. When it stops being fun, I won't do it anymore.
That's a good statement for anything, for life. If you're not having fun, stop doing it. Mine, filmmaking came from acting. I been acting for a while. I've slowed down recently. I stopped pushing as hard because it's stressful as all hell. being in Hollywood and doing all that stuff. So after a while, I was like, I started filmmaking. College is when I started taking classes for acting, and from that, it led to me going, no one's gonna cast me right now. I'm gonna make my own stuff, because even if I sucked, I was like, screw it, you know. So I made my own stuff, and I remember every time I booked a project I was proud of, I remember that feeling of seeing it and people enjoying it. Same feeling came from making stuff, even if I wasn't in them. If it was good and people enjoyed it, it was the same kind of satisfaction, gratification, feel like you made something, you were a part of something. It's the same thing. It's just when you make it, you have more control of it than when you're in it, you know? So it was a different way for me to approach Hollywood, LA, whatever we call it nowadays, since, you know, it's all over the place. So I eventually got to a point where I'm like, I just don't like having to rely on other people to work, even if that means I lose money. Like, I'd rather lose money and feel happy about it than wait and not get anything. And so I decided, I'm like, I'm gonna eventually make a little studio and get people who don't get the attention that they deserve. Hope that I get to a point where people like my content and give other people an opportunity to shine, you know, including myself, because I want to act, but I can't, you know, not that I can't physically act. I just get less opportunities, you know, especially in LA. You know, if I was in like a Spanish country, like they'd be like, oh, another, you know. So the numbers for me work against me. They work for me and they work against me. So my opportunities have changed when I made a career move, and then the numbers kind of switched, and then the whole industry switched. So it became this whole thing that was very stressful when you're trying to pay rent, you know. So for me, then I need to make more projects, and as I started doing it, I realized, or at least I can't say I realized, I feel like I'm way better at it than I was before. You know, I'm constantly learning the story arcs and the ways to break it, the ways to get something intriguing. And if I'm the only one that thinks the stuff I make is intriguing, shit. If I smile at my own project, I'm gonna go fuck it. If everybody hates it, then, you know, I hope that's not the case, but I hope people get what I'm saying, even if they hate it. I'd rather people understand my mindset into it and understand where I'm going with it and hate it than like it and not know what it is. Because if you don't know what it is, if you know what it is and you hate it, you feel something. You already go, I know what he's doing, this is this, but I hate it. I'm like, cool, I got an emotion out of you. If you like it and you're like, it's good, what'd you think? I don't know what was happening. Then I failed. So that's my point with anything I make. I'd rather make you hate me and understand it than make you like it and not understand it, you know? So, you know, I want to get to a point where I can make these projects, I can get distribution, get a way for the world to see it, people hopefully liking it, and if they like it, giving people opportunities, and if they give opportunities, then doing something crazy like Carl Laemmle or Walt Disney, where I'm just going to buy a plot of land and just make it a big chocolate factory where I can do whatever the hell I want, film whatever the hell I want, and have people visit whenever the hell I want. Like, you know, creating a legacy to a degree. But you got to start it somewhere, and I feel like with my love of acting and my friends that are fucking talented, they need more attention, and people need more opportunities than just using A-listers. Like, you know, if I get to a point, I'm going to use an A-lister because people will come to see the movie for the A-lister. But then they'll look at everybody else and be like, shit, they're good. You know what I mean? So that's not me shitting on A-listers. It's just, you know, when you have a
you are
project.
using A-listers, just nobody knows it yet.
Well, you guys are A-listers. You guys do, no one has an idea. Someone's gonna look at this video on YouTube in like 5 years and go, shit, what the hell is Dylan doing there? Like, why is he in this YouTube video? That's weird. But
they'll be able to say that about a lot of shit that I do.
Hey, I nerded out when I found out you were a freaking genie. Like, when I met you, and someone's like, "Oh, that's so and so." I'm like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "No, he did this." I was like, "Oh, I was there. I love that character." So like, don't think I didn't nerd out the first time someone put 2 and 2 together. Even with me knowing people in that show, like learning that you were that character, which is the only character I wanted to play in that show, like made me so happy. That's why I think I kept bothering you. Like once I learned it at our previous employment place, I have a question, and I'm like, you're like, what? How did that work? How did the makeup work? How did this work? Like I nerded out. I freaking love that show. But yeah, like everybody has done something that I'm like, you're effing talented as F for one reason or the other. And you two are two of those people that you're freaking talented. So, I was fortunate to have, you guys, and, yeah, I hope I answered my question. I ramble a lot. I think we have another question. What's something you wish you knew about this field of work or about being an artist earlier on? Not as much what would you go back and tell yourself, but what do you wish you had with you before going on the creative journey that is being an artist? Whether that be circumstance, outlook, or simply knowledge. And you're right, that is wordy, but that's a really good question. If any, throw it to you guys for anyone who wants to.
You can wish for a circumstance all you want. I mean, and a lot of that too is not going to make a lick of difference, especially in this business. You could have like the best, all the stars could align and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Or you could come from nowhere and blow up. Circumstance means nothing. I think it would come from a position of outlook. For me, would be to, again, I say it's like I'll stop doing this when it stops being fun.
Mm-hmm.
The outlook would be to remind yourself to have fun while you're doing it, because a lot of times you think you finish a project and we go, wow, that was really fun. I wish I enjoyed it more while I was doing it, because you're so focused on like what you're working on. Be in those moments, recognize those moments, remember why you're doing it, and don't be afraid to do stuff. Don't say no to things because you're afraid of it. That's usually when you'll put in your best work too.
Yep. A mosquito bit me, so that's why it looks like I'm scratching something, because I am. My leg is itchy as all hell right now.
Yeah, that's what it looks like you're doing.
It really hurts. All right, Jobeth.
I feel like a really big thing is, like, for me personally, is knowing who I am and embracing who I am, and kind of like where I fit in the industry. Mm-hmm. And just kind of taking that and running with it. Because at first it was sort of like, oh yeah, I want to do everything. This is, as I'm an actor and I can, I just want to, and just being like too odd and not really becoming passionate about something that, like, I know as myself that, like, I can fit into, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily a thing of fitting in or finding what your place is. Your place is.
No.
I know, but I'm saying it's like, it's not. It will feel like that. It's just like, because you are who you are. You have a very specific like look, and of course, you're not even going for your look. You want to do like the creature stuff and whatever, so that doesn't even matter. So, but for someone who's definitely wants to be in front of the camera or whatever, it's not so much of just like, well, where do I fit? It's just keep doing work, and then your place will become your place because you've created it. Because, you know, you could say, like, you know, who knew that, I'm pulling this name out of it because I don't know why it just popped in. Rebel Wilson. Like, who knew that she was going to, like, blow up the way she did? Now people will say, we want a Rebel Wilson type. Before Rebel Wilson, people wouldn't have said we want a Rebel Wilson type because, I mean, there may be people who, like, fit her physically or fit her sensibility or whatever. She brought something new to it. Now people are like, oh, that worked. We want that. Bring to it whatever it is you bring to it.
Exactly.
And it will create its own space. So it's not like you're finding a place that already exists. You're finding a place that you are creating.
Yeah, and I feel like by embracing who you are, like knowing yourself and embracing that and not trying to fit into a mold that you think is part of like what you're supposed to fit into.
Right.
Cool. A lot of thoughts. I love it. I don't remember the gist of, not the gist, but the my thought process with your question. I think it's I feel like Hollywood, and I'm using a blanket statement for Hollywood because Hollywood is a lot of things. There's a lot of cutthroat and a lot of straight shooters and not so straight shooters. I almost, if I could know anything, I wish I would have prepared more, like from the get-go. When I was like, I know this, I wish I would have known, be as prepared as possible and get ready to not take any of that stuff personal, because you're gonna get the people who are like, I'm Hollywood, and they're just like you know, either passive aggressive or very aggressive or very much a straight shooter, which I feel like I am. I'm very much like, no, this is why. And there's just a lot of different types of personalities that might not mesh well with you or anyone. So you might be the quiet person who's doesn't respond well to someone who's a screamer or a yeller, or someone who likes straight shots and someone can't give you a straight shot because that's not how they operate. There's so many extremes in my experience that I wish I would have known that before. Because if I would have known that before, I would have prepped more for it. I would have approached it in a slightly different way. And I think that the creative aspect of me would have been I would have been in a different place today. Like this stream would have been a different movie. Like, I still think this movie would have happened, but it would have been something completely different. So I do wish I would have, when I started trying to make films, I wish I never stopped. I wish I would have known all of these people way earlier. I wish I would have been more prepared, just so I would have had a leg up earlier on. That's what I wish I had. Not saying that anything I do now, like, time doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're 2 or you're 70, like, trying to do this stuff. It really doesn't. But I would have wished that I would have had a better leg up and understanding of it before I entered it. Because no matter what anyone tells you, and this is my own belief, I feel like no matter what, if I would have gone back and told myself, hey, be warned, this, it's not going to matter. Even I wouldn't believe myself. I'd be like, what? Like, until you experience it is when it happens. So you can be as prepared as you want, or you can think whatever you want, but if you're not prepared, it doesn't matter, you know? So I just wish I was, even though I took, acting classes and movement classes and a camera for film and plays, like, I did all of that. I still feel like I wish I would have done that and done more stuff in preparation at that time. That's just me. And understood what was the path I was going on. And the one thing I always knew and I still believe on, and it's like Dylan said, it's not, there's not an end. You're trying to, you don't want there to be an end because you want to keep doing it as long as you enjoy it. And as much as I enjoy it, I also know that sometimes you have to create your own thing. So I wish I was creating my own thing while I was trying to be a part of other things at the same time. And those two trains never stopped. Because my filmmaking train stopped. So, you know, and it stopped for no reason. It's not like I hated it or something bad happened. It just stopped because of life. And I wish I would have been like, no, this is part of the life. Keep making stuff, you know? So I think that for me goes back to, if you like something, you do it. And you keep doing it until you don't like it anymore. Just like Dylan said. Because if you have 5 years pass and then you're like, shit, why did I stop? Then you're going to regret that you stopped. So why did you stop? Do what you love. It doesn't matter. Like, there's a lot of quotes online that they say that Jim Carrey did at a college thing. And he talks about his dad and how his dad stopped. He could have been a comedian, stopped being a comedian to support his family at a job that was secure. And then he did that job to support his family because it was a safe job. After X amount of years, they fired him and he lost his safe job. So why are you going to go for the safe job if they can still fire you for the safe job? Like, you might as well go after the thing you want. You know what I mean? So
yeah, nothing is safe, nothing is secure.
Exactly.
Especially now. And I don't mean just because of, COVID or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the way things have been the past 10, 20 years, there's no such thing as a secure job.
Yeah.
I have people who have, regular jobs who have said, yeah, I'm totally secure. It's like, okay, you are, but while you still have the same job, you're not with the same company. You've changed companies 3-4 times because people have been bought out. Something happened, you got let go, and then you got headed somewhere else. So you're still not safe.
Yeah.
So, but then again, some of these people too, it's just like, this is what they want to do. So they're going to play that game.
Yeah.
Other people are just like, they're doing it because they think it's a safe thing to do. And what they really want is too much of a risk.
Yeah.
Regret is more painful than risk.
Completely agree. Completely agree. So, I think you were going to say something, Jobeth. Let me see if I missed something in the chat. But let me know if that answers your question, Kitty. I'm going to see. The chat has a lot of things going on at the same time. So I'm trying to find out if there's any thing that has to do with any questions. Do you guys have anything going on while I look through this that you guys want to do? You have anything to pitch? Anything to advertise?
I'll do a shameless self promotion here.
Do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Hell yeah. So every Saturday night, although I won't be doing it this Saturday, but every Saturday night since this whole thing has started, I've been part of an online variety show. And for the past 4 Friday nights, tomorrow night will be the 5th one. I'm part of an online improv show, and you can find all of these because we have started a YouTube network, as it were. So if you go to vaudacitynetwork.com, it's like Audacity, but with a V. So vaudacitynetwork.com takes you basically to our YouTube channel, and everything we've done is up there. And another improv show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific. Yeah. That's how I've been spending my weekends.
Nice.
Keeping creative.
That's all you can do. Just keep it creative. One thing someone said, it's not a question, but it's a compliment. Jenna said, "Hi, Jobeth, love you, and Dylan, you were amazing in P.E.A.C.E."
Aww.
That's one comment on there that I saw. There's a lot of stuff happening in the chat, so I'm losing track of things. Those are music lines. Has the climate, not talking about obvious Hollywood scandals, changed in the past decade or two? Like, did you start off in a different world than where you are now? Or is it just the normal change that everything goes through? Acting specifically. So talking about the acting world specifically. Anything from you guys?
I feel like the basics of it are the same. A lot of things are going to change, but really it's just like you're in it, you audition, you get the job, you don't get the job. You're in it, you audition, you get the job, you don't get the job.
Yeah.
All the other stuff it's just what happens and you take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are always like new things that pop up, like being able to submit online for different projects that you find, and then now, especially right now, the self-tape audition thing, that was a difficult thing for me to get used to. The whole not being able to like go into a casting office and meet the casting directors in person, because that to me was always like part of like that was like its own separate little acting gig.
Yeah.
And so now to just do it in my house by myself is a little bit more difficult for me, although I am getting acclimated to it and learning to enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
Things like that are constantly going to change, but the basics of it is always the same.
Yeah. I feel like I was going to say that too, what you said, Jobeth. I feel like the biggest, at least to me, the biggest changes have been how you submit. And I felt like it went from hard copy to digital through your agents, and then you show up, and then that evolved again to in the last year or so. Not even that's a bad indicator, but like in the last few years, self tapes would happen, but it wasn't the norm. Right now, that's the norm. So
it will continue to be the norm after this, because a lot of casting companies are going to say, "Oh, we don't have to rent out these spaces anymore."
Yeah.
To hold these auditions, they might do it for like in-person callbacks or something like that.
That's my thought too.
But yeah,
and they can go through more people and deal with less personalities, less the space alone in LA to rent. Unless you own the property, is expensive. So. And then
you got to have somebody running the room and then somebody on the camera. Now you just got to just turn on Zoom and you're done.
Yep.
Or you just shoot it yourself at home. You send it to like a WeTransfer link or whatever. They download and watch it. It's so much easier. It's so much less expensive for them. But the gig itself is the same thing.
Yeah. Same thing.
The social media aspect too is like now they don't always want to get necessarily like an A-lister, but if they find someone who has an Instagram following of 1 million people, then that's like automatic advertising for whatever project, because if they have someone who's Instagram famous, that's like a boost to their project. So now a lot of productions are like, how many followers do you have?
Yeah, the whole social media thing. That's why we have social media links under them. So if you guys want, go to Dylan's website, follow him on Insta, follow Jobeth on Insta, and you guys should hopefully all know my Insta. Go to that, follow us, give us some love, because we all need that attention. Not from people, but from the industry to hopefully give us more opportunities. So please and thank you. All right, here's another question. How has CGI and increased technology changed the creative process? I think this is more for like bigger films with lots of graphics. But like, are you doing digital something that you did a while back with pen and paper, and do you like it? Oh, he said he wants to rephrase the question, but he hasn't yet.
Good, because I didn't understand that all.
All right. Hello. Rephrase the question and let us know, and we will answer your question. I thought I got slightly what you were talking about. I think what you meant, I'm assuming what you meant, assuming is a horrible thing to do, is CGI for like example would be like Avengers, where there's a lot of green screen in comparison to like, when you say pen and paper, I'm assuming you mean like a CGI cartoon, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's what I'm slightly getting from it, but I'm sure I'm probably incorrect because I assumed. So rephrase it, ask it again.
And I got it was just a comparison to just like, the technological difference between just like a sketch of something and like a full CGI render of something, like a storyboard to a CGI, just that kind of comparison. But in terms of like how that changes, I mean, the pendulum swings, and again, things change. The gig is the same, no matter what. Even the green screen thing is changing right now too. Big time. Like if you see the way they shoot The Mandalorian,
yes,
they can shoot all of that stuff on a single sound stage with those screens that they do. And what's great about it is that you're seeing it. It's better than green screen, for one, for lighting purposes, two, for and it's great for the actors too, because you can see the environment you're in. They might see
so everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, but when you can see the environment around you, and they just, and then they can shift things however they want to, it's phenomenal what they can do.
Yeah, that's when I found that out for that for The Mandalorian, I was shocked. I was like they have those.
That's not new tech either. It's just something that's becoming less and less expensive. There was that Tom Cruise movie Oblivion like 8 years ago.
Oh yes.
And I'd seen a thing on it. So when they're like up in their like little observation tower and they're like looking out over, none of that was green screen. That was all like projection. So that's in the room. And the great thing about that was because they had the reflective, keypads and everything like that. That's such a pain in post to get rid of like any sort of like green reflection or whatever. Now you just have like whatever the light is you get the actual reflection. You don't have to do anything.
No. It's brilliant.
So much easier to do all that up front.
Yeah. That's the dream, having that. What movie are you making today? I don't know. We're going to make a Western. Get the projectors going. Like, I don't know. I think it's freaking great. I think that blew my mind, just seeing, I forgot what they called it. They had a cool name for it.
Yeah, there's a name for it, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it's...
Yeah, and how they would have a part of a ship, and when they move the camera, the whole background would also adjust with the camera. So it would keep
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the game engine.
It's amazing.
It's freaking, But I think in one of the behind the scenes they talk about it, and then like I think it came. Oh man, I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. How like it evolved, and they like in I think it's the one on Disney Plus. They talk about the evolution of the technology and how it's video game technology, and it all started with, I think it was Lion King, the live action Lion King. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Here's I meant more like, how has the increased availability of just computers and phones and resources changed how you go about writing, getting people to work, and just really producing the project? We're seeing everything change around us. Has that really been reflective in your craft or the styles you need to work in? If I'm being dumb and you can't understand what I'm saying, has technology changed the way you work? I understand your question entirely. Who wants to start?
You can start.
I feel like that's absolutely directed towards you too, because
yeah,
technology has allowed you to be able to make these movies, whereas 20 years ago this would have been completely cumbersome, ridiculously expensive.
Yep. Yeah, because my story is, I give it to you guys first, because mine is gonna go from, well, I'll just start. So yes, everything Dylan said is correct. The first movies I ever made, I remember being a little kid, and not even that little technically. I was like right around finishing high school, going to college. So to me, I was a little kid, and I remember buying and being excited. It was the first camera I bought. We got it online because everybody said buy it online. Go to a store, look at the one you want, and then buy it online because it's cheaper. And I bought this little mini, what was it called? Digital videotapes that were like tiny.
Oh, those little mini DVs, yeah.
Yeah, mini DVs. And a little camcorder, and I'm like, this is good resolution. I was all like super excited. It wasn't 4K, didn't exist. It wasn't even HD. I don't even think it was 720. But I remember having this, and then having a little computer. I think it was a laptop that was and even mine. I think it was my brother's laptop. So it was almost like a hand-me-down, I think. And I went and I just went, can I shoot a movie? And that's why the first movie I made was what I said, John Umblingata, which was a guy trying to find this woman. But it was the universe giving him signs. So it was a comedy because the signs were so... They weren't like, oh, like someone called me. It was like literally a sign going, you're an idiot, go that way. You know? And him going to this person and just misunderstanding all the signs when there were like blatantly a sign. And a guy going like, who are you? He's like, all right, you're supposed to go that way. It was literally just this weird comedy that I made with an outline and some thoughts because you need the things that... But us just saying stuff. And like to today's age, that project is really bad. And the comedy just goes really all over the place. And then because the comedy is such very specific, when you get to the emotional scene comes out corny because of the balance, which is something that I learned throughout making projects. I'm like, why is this corny? It's like, well, you've been making jokes and you didn't ease into it. That was then. That took a process. It was making everything, getting a camera, transferring it, making it on a computer, putting that on a hard drive. Putting it on a hard drive for someone who's new was a pain in the ass because you can't put a 3 gigabyte file onto a hard drive if on a normal hard drive unless it's what's the word? It's set up to be able to take files bigger than whatever. And I didn't know that. So I had this weird learning curve of just understanding technology. Now I can I think was chapter 32 the first one? I made the last 2 movies with this phone. And that's it. I literally wrote it on my phone in my notes. I think on those, I didn't even send people. I don't know. Did I send you guys scripts on this one? By scripts, I mean like a PDF file? Or did I send you like a text script?
You sent me a PDF.
Okay. On the other ones, there wasn't a PDF. Like, I literally wrote it in my notes, which is what I've been kind of doing. Send them out for those projects. And then record it on my phone within either the camera it has or one of the other camera apps that I have that are like made to like look like you have lenses. And then from there, I go to iMovie and I can edit it there. I can make a whole movie with no technology but my iPhone. And it's 4K. So I can make a whole 4K movie with my iPhone. And don't get me wrong, I've added a mic to it, I think once, and the audio was still better without a mic, with the mic on the phone, even though they were a good 5 to 10 feet away. And I was like, really? I could just put it up and it'll still be clean? And I did that. You know, my ability to screenwrite because of technology is 10 times easier. I use my notes because my notes get uploaded, so I have them backed up somewhere, and I just put thoughts and ideas in some scripting. And then now, because I own Final Draft on my computer, there's also an app. So I have Final Draft on my computer and on my phone, and then I have my notes. So I go through my notes, write stuff, put them on the Final Draft wherever I'm at. I could be on the toilet, and there have been times where I wrote on my toilet. On it, it will transfer into my computer. So it's brilliant. I can write 3 pages here, save, close it off, and leave, get on my phone and Final Draft, and everything's still there, and I can just keep going. And that's what it's been since quarantine happened. Because I bought the app to work earlier this year on it because I was out a lot. But now that I'm here, I'm like, I should get the program, got the program, and now that it's all connected in one way or the other, all of my chaos that I go through to write something, especially something this big, my ideas will happen anywhere. And I don't like having the inability to write down a note, which is why I like notes. But if I have a scene, which happens rarely, but if I have a scene and I know it, something in my head goes, go to your script. Go to the script. And it could be here, it could be anywhere. I will literally get whatever I need. My phone's always on me, and I will write it out. And I will write a 3-page script and have a scene and never change it, even off of the Final Draft, because for some reason it works. And why it works, I have no idea. You know? Jobeth, I sent you that scene like 3 weeks ago. It happened to me. I was like, oh shit, off of one thing that happened to me. I sat down and wrote a scene. And I just wrote. I don't think of anything but this is the basics, and I just write and see what came out. No joke. What came out, I looked at it once, changed one thing, and went, fuck, I love this scene. And it was a 2.5 page scene. And then I got the scene, and I sent it to Jobeth, and I don't know who the other person was. I don't remember who the other person was. And I went, what do you think? And they were like, that's cute. And I'm like, I know. There's something about it, and I don't know what it is. And I'm going to put that in my script. I know I did put it in my script. And I haven't changed it yet. And I don't know why, even to this moment, I love it so much. It seems so simple and pure. And it just happened off me going, talk about this. And I sat down and just, you know? So technology has changed for me, specifically my writing aspect. What was that?
Oh, I was just going to say that I said cute and sad.
Yes, that was her description. That was her description of those pages, cute and sad. So, yeah,
which is good if that's what you were going for.
It was. I wanted a moment, without me going into it like in detail. I wanted a moment where it was like the scene started off showing a relationship and a closeness, and then flipping, and I did that within 2.5 pages. And then flips because you see a friendship, but then you see something different, you know? And then you go, who is it different for now? You know? And it becomes just a visual. It goes from a very, like, what to me was, and you can correct me if Jobeth can correct me in whatever, but to me it was a moment that was very sincere and something that actually has happened to me multiple times, which is weird because it's very specific. 2.5 pages, where it's like friends not bashing each other. I want to be like revealing something, but you're like, the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, it's just like that hard truth that a close friend would tell to someone. But then you kind of realize that maybe what's happening is very counter to who they actually are. You know? So it was a very yin and yang within 2.5 pages. And to me, it's very sweet, but then it's also very sad because of the yin and yang of those 2.5 pages. And this happened, what, was it like 3 weeks ago? I want to say, like within the last 3 weeks. And I sat down and I was in an emotional, mental, I'm always in some weird state. I'm always in a weird state when I get into this writing craze. I have to, like, I don't know why. Me right now, I'm fine. But if I went to write, I would have issues. If I'm literally depressed or extremely happy or some weird other emotion, I'm hangry because I haven't eaten. If I'm anything, that will get me writing more than how I am right now, which is completely fine. So at that point, I know I had a thought in my head that was kind of drilled for whatever reason, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I just went and go. And I did. And I fucking love those 2.5 pages. And they're in the movie. I have a feeling they're not going to change, but if they do, they do. But that's just a weird. That's going into another subject. But that's a weird example that if I wasn't here to do it, if we weren't in quarantine, and I was somewhere else, the same thing would happen. I would sit down. I would be like, leave me alone. I would cancel all my phone calls that would come in, and I would just write, because that just is how it is for me. I can make a movie on my iPhone. I hope not to do that again, but I can write wherever, and that's the gift. What about you guys? What has technology changed for you in your creative endeavors?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one, I was just describing, you know, how these circumstances have forced technology to change my creative endeavors. In terms of like how we were talking about how like self-tapes, you know, and things at home are a big thing right now. How I'm doing, you know, this stuff online now. I was part of the Burbank Comedy Festival this year, which when I got in was going to be all live and everything was going to be on stage and in the clubs. And then all this happened. But because of this, so it's so weird doing stand-up in your room to no audience Well, I mean, anybody's on there, they'll leave their mics on so you can hear like these weird like delayed laughs or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's, I would say that it's changed in the respect that the venue in which you can be creative. It's not the technology that's changed. The technology has allowed for things like this to still allow creativity to happen.
Yeah. You all right, Jobeth?
Yeah, I just had to like, I was losing battery on both my laptop and my phone, which has my Wi-Fi. So I just had to like relocate and like plug everything in.
It just looks funny. You're like, I'm like, something's happening. She's running out of power. She's running out of power.
I'm digging the gramophone you've got behind you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, Jobeth, we're gonna use that in something, just so you know.
That's fine.
We have to.
I love being a prop.
We have a question. This is a question we kind of went into already, but I'll ask it because it was asked recently from one of the newer people who came in. Dylan Jobeth, did you see the vision that Herb was thinking of when you read the script versus seeing the final product? I know we kind of went into that a little bit, but we'll do a little rehash.
Yeah. I feel like you were really good at explaining like what your vision was, and so aside from like a few things with my character that changed on the day, that all of a sudden it just like clicked and I was like, yeah. The final product is like, the final project is kind of what I imagined it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the final product is pretty. I'll go along with that because yeah, you were very good explaining what you were going for, what tone you were trying to hit, and everything like that. As far as the look, I didn't know what it would look like until I got on set because I can imagine it all I want, maybe like what you were shooting for, but then you've got the constraints of the environment in which you're working.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so now how is he going to make what we're working with look as close to what he was describing? That's where it gets interesting for me.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like as a participant in this, and I'm sure for you too. It's like I've written something and I have an idea of how I want it to look, but this is what I have to work with. So how do I make this fit into this?
Yeah. You just don't know. Like.
Yeah, but then too, when it comes to like if it looked or felt the way I imagined it would, regardless of like what the environment, the physical environment was we were in, you were still able to hit those tones, those moments, those beats.
Yeah.
Within it, that the feel of it and the pacing of it and everything was what I got from what you were trying to do. So yeah.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Jenna. See if there's something else that at one point someone couldn't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. It looks like it's coming through. So yes. And yeah, that's it. So last call for questions. If you have any more questions, we've gone longer than I thought we were gonna. Double. I thought it was gonna be like a shorter stream. Usually we get all the questions pretty quick, but I feel like this stream became a creative idea in the evolution, which I'm all for.
It's cool.
Yeah, from questions about a movie to questions about the industry and technology. I love it. Good job to everybody who asked questions. If you have a last question, this is your last chance to ask questions before we all go away. Again, I appreciate everybody who is here, to all the subs and VIPs and mods who help make these streams possible. Thank you. Thank you to all the supporters who help me continue to stream, because without you, I probably wouldn't be doing it anymore. And if you continue to like these little things, please let us know on the Discord, because if you do, then we'll make more. And I think hopefully in the future we can have them back, and we'll do conversations about other things, maybe like get some stand-up comedians, get some cosplayers, get some, I don't know. But I think having conversations about anything and everything creative is a good place to learn, and not necessarily like learn how other people do it, because hopefully learning how someone does it can inspire you or help you learn the way for you to do it. So I'm thinking of doing that in the future. That's my thought. Thank you so much for entertaining my fever dream interrogative questions. Love the film. Thank you, Kitty. No, thank you for all those questions. Ask all of them. Every time we do these, like, don't hesitate. Don't feel like you can't. We're all here to learn, and we're all here to have fun. So ask them all. We have these people here because they're amazing, they're talented, and they're great at what they do. So that's why I bring them here. What's going on here? I had a great time. I love hearing. Oh yeah, and then Ariel Tiana, who is in the chat, was also in the movie. She helped in it, so she's the one with one of the monologues at the very beginning. So show her some love. She's in the chat. She was a big part. Nay was a big part of this. She helped me take care of anything I couldn't take care of. She's the right-hand man, so to speak, or woman, right-hand woman, for the making of this production. And yeah. And I don't see any other questions. Do you guys have anything else you want to say before we end?
Thanks for having us on, and thanks for putting us in the movie in the first place.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Jobeth, you made me laugh. You're like, you were like having. I'm like, is she okay? Like, is something happening to her right now? Like,
we need to reboot Jobeth.
We do, man.
I know.
These fires are not helping you. You need.
They're not.
We need to get a car battery over there, real quick.
I just need some sleep.
You need some sleep. I went past your bedtime, didn't I? Did we go past your bedtime?
Well, I think I've hit, I don't even know how many hours of being awake at this point.
Gotcha. Fair. Jobeth needs to sleep. Let me see. I'm going to look one last time at the chat to see if I missed anything. Oh my god, Predator Jobeth. I don't know what you're talking about, unless you're talking about her costume.
Did you ever do a Predator?
Someone wrote Predator, so I'm like,
Predator.
They're like, oh my god, Predator Jobeth.
Maybe you need to do a Predator.
I never connected with the Predator like I did with the Xenomorphs.
That's funny.
Xenomorphs were just such cool designs.
No. Did you watch? I haven't seen.
Eager was a mad genius, so.
Someone just found out that you. I guess this is off topic, but someone just found out that Miss Jobeth was in The Office. Were you in The Office?
Oh, yeah. I did one episode of The Office, and it was like one of the greatest days on set ever because I already loved the show. And I was just brought in for like a college student scene, but they took us to I was on the set of like The Office, even though my scenes weren't there, and just seeing everybody was amazing.
Wait, now
watching Creed.
I mean, I've watched The Office a ton of times. My kids are huge fans. What episode is this? Because I'm sure I've seen you, and now I have to go back and actually look.
I don't think I actually made it into the episode. But I didn't even care because it was all about just actually like being on the set and like watching all the people, watching Creed talk about how he was going to go to his trailer for a nap and for them to wake him up for lunch, and watching Phyllis talk about their Emmy chocolates, and it's just fantastic.
Good day.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you questions about that. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you for everybody watching. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Jobeth. We will have them back somehow in the future for some other subject. If you guys like this, please go to our Discord. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know any other questions you might have. And if you have any ideas for future little talkbacks, please let us know. With that, that's Dylan. That's Jobeth. I'm Reality. Have a good night.
Night.
Good night.